When did throwing something at someone actually solve your problem? My mom was the perfect picture of a military spouse. She could pack up a whole house in 2 days, make new friends at every base in a week, and somehow manage 3 kids through 8 different moves. She kept food on the table, clothes on our backs, and made sure we stayed in school. She organized every FRG meeting, sent care packages to soldiers overseas, and never forgot to mail Dad his favorite beef jerky even when money was tight. She was the one people called at 3 a.m. when they couldn't handle another night alone. Dad was coming up on 20 years in service, and Mom had been waiting for that moment since his 3rd deployment. She saved every penny she could, researched houses in Colorado near her sister, and even found the perfect one with a wraparound porch. Just 1 more year, she kept saying. Then we can finally settle down. The kids can finish high school in one place. The ceremony was supposed to be next Tuesday. Mom thought it was his retirement ceremony. She invited her whole family, bought a new dress, and even put together a scrapbook called The Journey to Home. I helped her paste in the photos. One was of her crying in the driveway at our first base housing, pregnant with me. Another was her painting my sister's bedroom, again in a different house. She wrote little notes under each one. Move number 3, left behind the garden I planted. Move number 6, Tommy's best friend stayed here. But here's what nobody knew. Dad had already re-enlisted 3 months earlier. He signed on for 6 more years without saying a word. And Mom found out in the worst way possible. It was at the FRG Christmas party. The hall was full of families, kids running around with cookies, someone's phone playing bad Christmas music. Mom was serving punch when she overheard 2 officers' wives at the dessert table. One whispered, "Did you see Major Wilson with Captain Brooks at the PX yesterday? They're not even hiding it anymore." The other laughed. His poor wife, waiting 20 years, and he's blowing his bonus on jewelry for his girlfriend. I watched Mom freeze, the ladle still in her hand. Her face went cold like ice spreading across a window. She set the punch down, walked across the room, and stood in front of Dad, who was laughing with some officers near the Christmas tree. "Is it true?" she asked quietly. The room went silent. Dad tried to play dumb. "Honey, what are you talking about?" She raised her voice. "The re-enlistment. Captain Brooks. Is it true?" Even the kids stopped running. Dad straightened his uniform and said, "We should discuss this at home." Mom laughed, but it wasn't a happy laugh. 20 years. 20 years I've been waiting for you. To come home. Really home. Not just between deployments, not just for weekends. I've been the married single mom. The mover, the packer. The one keeping everything together while you played soldier. And you couldn't even tell me you signed away 6 more years of my life? A colonel tried to step in, talking about decorum. Mom spun on him. Decorum? Where was that when I was in labor with our 2nd child and he was in Iraq? Where was decorum when I had to explain to my son why his dad missed his graduation for training? She turned back to Dad and his girlfriend. She's 23 years old. Dad's jaw tightened. "Linda, you're being hysterical. This is what military wives do. You knew what you signed up for. Maybe if you understood sacrifice." "Sacrifice?" Mom pulled out her phone. "I'll tell you about sacrifice. I've got 4,000 photos on this phone. You're in 217 of them. I know because I counted while you were deployed again." She threw the phone at his chest. It bounced off his medals. "I sacrificed my career, my family, my friends, my sanity, my kids' stability, everything. For what? So you could sneak around with your coworker and sign up for more years without even asking me?" "You're embarrassing yourself," Dad said, picking her phone up from the floor. "And me, in front of my command." Mom nodded slowly. "You're right. I am embarrassing myself, believing for 20 years that this would end, that I mattered as much as your career." She looked around at the other wives. Some were crying, most just stared. "How many of you are waiting for retirement too? How many of you think it'll be different when they hit 20? Nobody spoke. Mom walked over to the dessert table, picked up the giant sheet cake that said, "Merry Christmas, 4th Battalion families," in red and green frosting, carried it back, and dumped the entire thing onto his dress blues. Full story on the channel. Link below, click now and watch. What happened next?